There have been many hypotheses put forward on how and why the Neanderthals became extinct, and we have a new one today. Um, before I progress to reading out the article, we'll talk about the ones that have been discovered. We know that um, the disappearance of Neanderthals and the replacement by us um, has been explained by many ways, many hypotheses. That includes uh, that they were not able to adapt to the changing climate. After all, around the 20, 30,000 years before the present, um, um, before the present, the climate was changing. It was more or less getting uh, colder before it came warmer again. So by about 20,000 before the present, as I said, 20, 30,000 before the present, it was warming up. We reached a glacial maximum, and until about 12,000 before the present, BC, we were in the current interstadial that we are now. Neanderthals disappeared around 40,000-ish years ago. There are estimates a bit earlier than that, and there are estimates from sites like Gibraltar around the 33, 37, 35,000 years. So it's quite a wide um, margin for them to be going extinct, for them to be disappearing off the planet. And so one of them was the changing climate and the environment. Another one was there were differences in their technical skills, their economy, and their social systems, which is going to be this one that we're going to read. And another one were their subsistence strategies, which basically goes back to the economic aspect of how they ruled their life, and their language skills. We don't know yet if they could talk. We know that they made sounds. There's been a lot of experimentation going on. There is even a video which, due to their this vocalist that has been trying to recreate the, the sounds that Neanderthals could have made, and due to their position of their larynx that we know a little bit about, their chest, barrel chest, and etc., their big noses, large nasal cavities, and so on, that they made a really high-pitched sound. So they sounded something like this. I can't remember, not the grunting, low, deep soprano, more of a high-pitched, no, to a tenor, more of a high-pitched soprano, or something like that. So, other things could have been cannibalism, which humans, us sapiens, also practiced. By the way, we're not exclusive. They weren't exclusive practicing cannibalism. And I've talked about most of these hypotheses. And then there's that we bred them out by assimilating with us. That's why non-African sapiens today, non-Africans from not from Africa, have all of them have a Neanderthal or Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA. Denisovans also have possibly could be the Eastern Neanderthals, but because they broke off from the Neanderthal lineage about 700,000 years ago, 600,000 years ago, so more or less that. So let's get on with the article. I will share it as usual. I can't do OBS yet because I need a second monitor. It doesn't work for me with only one monitor, so in the future we will, when I get a second monitor, we'll get to OBS. This is a skull of sapiens, us. Do you know how I know? Because it's got a small nasal cavity, and it's not from the writing. You just have to look at him and you'll know that, anyway, after you see it enough, you'll know that it's us, modern humans. He does not have occipital ridges over his eyes, the brow ridges, and his forehead's straight up. It's not sloping backwards. And also, like I said about the nose, it's more gracile. So let's get on with it. Neanderthals may have survived if they evolved to look out for each other like we sapiens do. humans. They were humans. I've always said that, and I will contend anyone who does not call Neanderthals human. They were humans. They were a race of humans, a race of sapiens. Physically, there doesn't seem to have been much differences between us and our evolutionary cousins, aside from being a little stockier than humans, than sapiens. Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalensis, had features that were more or less the same size as our ancestor Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens. So, see, they missed out the third one. It's sapiens, sapiens, sapien neanderthalensis. This is to abbreviate. It's acceptable. You don't have to become too tied up on structures. We know we have three trinomial classification system by Linnaeus. Now, however, tiny structural distinctions in our skulls may have given us an unbeatable advantage. Now, a new scientific analysis shows that human skulls are shaped in a way that suggests they encase brains with slightly larger cerebellums than Neanderthals. So the cerebellum is a brain region associated with activities like planning, adapting to new environments, switching between tasks, and building social relationships. For the limited anatomical knowledge that I know, that's more or less what I was taught, yes. These advantages confer a slightly improved capacity for these abilities may have been what set early sapiens apart from Neanderthals, and what ultimately paved the way for our survival and their downfall. Now let's analyze these three assertions. So the cerebellum is associated with planning. Now, planning. What did Neanderthals plan? They planned to hunt. They planned to make tools. They planned to make art. We know they made art, and so the differences between their planning and our planning could be enough to warrant a less advantaged stratagem than ours. Plausible. Now, adapting to new environments. Well, we adapted to all environments on Earth. We populated every single habitat except the Antarctic region on the planet. We live up to 5-6 kilometers above sea level. We live in deserts. We live in cold areas. We live in hot areas. We live in temperate areas. Modern humans live in every niche that the environment provides. Neanderthals were limited to Europe and Western Asia, some towards the east, but mostly Western Asia. Western Asia from Western Siberia to the west of the Eurasian continent. They did not inhabit the Indian subcontinent. We haven't found any that I know of, any Neanderthal remains there, and Africa. So that's a fact. Now, and switching between tasks. Well, again, that goes back to the planning thing. They switched between tasks. They hunted. They performed art. They made utensils, etc., etc. We don't know how easily they switched. They multitasked or not. And then there's building social relationships. Well, we can only infer. We don't know. We know that they buried their dead. That is something that is inherent in social relation between two different individuals. If you respect, if you honor, if you love that person enough, then you bury them. Then you have a good social relationship with them. There is evidence from I can't remember the name. It's Shanidar from Iran, where they found a 70,000-year-old Neanderthal who was about in his 50s to 60s. He did not have teeth, yet he lived that long. And his palate and where his teeth were has fused, so we know he must have he was taken care of. So about building social relations, Depends. If it's intertribal relations, we do not know. If it's interpersonal relationships, yeah, we can infer that they did build social relationships, and they did mate with us, or we mated with them. So there had to be in some form of comprehension in relations to allow that to happen. Um, so yes. So this study, which I've linked to in the description, it's the full study. It was published April the 26th in the Scientific Reports Journal. Um, the study clearly demonstrates the innate morphological differences in the brain structure actually existing between the two species. Yes, there is absolutely no doubt that their brain structures were different than ours. Naomichi Ogihara, the biological anthropologist of Keio University and co-author of the paper, announced his findings on the 26th of April. Ogihara and his colleagues obtained magnetic resonance imaging of the brain of 1,185 contemporary human volunteers and used them to come up with an average size and distribution of about 25 different brain regions. The sample gave us an idea of modern human brain composition and how our organs fit in the modern human skull. Next, they attempted to figure out how the modern skull derives from early humans and Neanderthal skulls. So then we know from fossils from, for example, a very early human is Jabal Erud, 300,000 years ago. There's also from Israel, some South Africa, from Ethiopia. So we have quite a few in the 100 to 200,000 year range, and from 30 to 235,000 years. And by approximately how modern human different from early moderns and Neanderthal brains. So they compared our modern to ancient sapiens and ancient Neanderthals. The scientists used computer imaging to create 3D models of 4 Neanderthal brains and 4 early human brains. Unfortunately, we don't have 1,185 samples of skulls yet. They could appear, but for now we do not have them. And they range from 32,000 to 135,000 years old, but the 8 samples the ancient ones. I'll assume that the 32,000 is most modern humans. Early humans, well, they're not very early. They're very modern. I've talked about when we sort of became modern in many aspects, and was close about there. Then they took the distribution of modern human brains and applied it to fit into these 8 reconstructions. There were some differences between modern and early humans. These aren't very early. 32,000 not very early. Not even 135,000 years very early. But we'll accept for this study purpose. Possibly because Jebel Rud and the Israeli Shul, I think it's called Shul, cave sample. Can't remember now. I'm sorry. You guys can look at my earlier videos if you want. I'll be happy to see the views. And so they're not very modern humans. The 135,000 years. Yes, they're ancient, but they're not that old. Even 32,000 to me is modern. We have we come into the Solutrean period, and that up to the Solutrean, Chalcopyronian Solutrean period, in Europe at least, and they're modern. That's modern. Sorry, that's my opinion. They are modern. 32,000-year-old H sapiens are modern. 135,000 years, no, that's a bit more older. Yes. Then there were some differences between the modern and the early humans, but what really stood out is the researchers was that significant differences in proportionate size between cerebellums of early humans and Neanderthals. Fine, there's the differences inside of the cerebellums. What can I say? There's difference. They were different. Their skull shape was different. So that goes to show that their brains would have been different in their distribution at least. So we have bigger cerebellums. The researchers then analyzed 1,095 more brain scans in of additional volunteers to compare the size of these cerebellums to abilities like language processing, memory, task switching speeds. They found that in these modern humans, a slightly larger cerebellum was correlated to improvement in these skills. But correlation does not mean causation. We must be very, very, very careful. So they found some humans with slightly larger cerebellums to have improved skills. But why? We must ask ourselves then. This led to the team to think that the same logic could be applied to early humans compared to Neanderthals. You could, but it probably won't give you the comparative results that you want. There's a very tenuous thing when we try to compare modern with ancient, okay, because everything after agriculture will interfere. One day I'll talk about that, but for now, there is a logic, but it's not logical either. So this isn't as significant a finding that would be research derived from an actual fossilized Neanderthal brain, which has never been found. Of course not. Nevertheless, these models can at least suggest that different brain structures put Neanderthals at some kind of disadvantage. They survived in Europe in 3 ice ages in Europe for at least 300,000 years. Us modern humans, as they deem them, only have been on Earth for about 30-ish thousand years. So the disadvantage is relative, because our brains have now been influenced by at least 6,000 years of agriculture. That has probably impacted our chemistry, brain chemistry, and I bet you, if they were able to compare brain scans from 5 generations back of us modern humans, they would be totally different from what they are today. And I think you know what I'm getting at, because there has been a lot of technology that is impacting on our brains at the moment. So God, I hope you guys are listening to this, because I can't see you guys on the computer, but yes, you are hearing me. That's good. So yes, and again, which is, at least this article is acknowledging it. This isn't a definitive finding. It would not have been any factor leading to their extinction. We don't know what their extinction, why they went extinct. We have all these hypotheses which I have outlined, and they are in the actual article that this article cites the study. For example, we know that Neanderthals were at least somewhat intelligent and social. They were intelligent and social, and they produced music, as they're saying it, jewelry, kissing. I don't know where they got this. How they know that they got kissing, or at least shared meals. They also produced art. And I was going to do an article where they found an engravings in a jawbone. I didn't read it, I just saw the title. I have it here in my archive thing, and they were intelligent, but we don't know what intelligence is, for a start. And I like them. They can use that general term intelligence, but let us first establish what intelligence is. And they were intelligent for their own. I will repeat this enough. Neanderthals were intelligent as we are. They survived longer than we have. Our latest itineration have survived longer than we have still. Let's see if we can survive as long as they did. It may, with whatever advantage Homo sapien had over Homo neanderthalensis, was likely subtle. Of course, absolutely. Larger cerebellums. The recent studies urges could have given human ancestors the ability to figure out how to adapt to changing environments. Neanderthals figured out how to adapt to 2 or 3 changes in their climate over in Ice Age Europe. They went through at least 2 to 3 ice ages with 2 to 3 interstadials in between. They didn't survive the last one, coincidentally, because we arrived. Possibly, yes, we could have led to their extinctions, but we don't know. How to hunt different types of food? Well, there's evidence that early 60, when we modern humans entered Europe, we were hunting the same animals that they had, because only later, when the climate changed, when the megafauna died out, did modern humans start hunting different types of food. Okay, and how to protect themselves a little better. Perfectly adequate, but they survived 2 to 3 ice ages. Again, Neanderthals could probably keep up with us to an extent, sure. And when it comes to survival, every extra advantage matters. Yes, it does, but still, let's not get ahead of ourselves in trying to usher out the Neanderthals. Yes, we survived; they didn't. But the factors are many, many, many factors, and we can't simplify them. That's what this article tries to do a little bit, but at the end it sort of contradicts itself a little bit as well, by having to admit that they weren't that different as the body of this text was. The study itself does not go into that type of trying to make the differences that much greater. There are differences, but they're small. We'll accept that. Okay, we finished then the article, and I hope you guys liked it. Now let's see the questions. Hello everyone. Let's see. Hello Beach. Hello Carlos David Malachite. Neve, how are you, mate? Okay, questions. Let's see. What are they? Maybe they developed an SJW culture and lost the will to live. Possibly, man. Possibly. Possibly, John. Absolutely. Okay. You are saying the word. Yes, I am, John W. Muse. We'll see if they demonetize me or not, or have the bots have learnt anything. I try to pronounce it Homo as much as possible, and not the actual H, heavy H. Oh, no, I'm not a denier. Oh, I'm a denier of what? Of Homo sapiens? No, I'm not. I accept all forms of sexual differences. No problems there. Thoroughly modern, we call them mealies. Yes, we do, Beach. Yes, we do. Let's see. Intelligence is not something possessed by your average journalist. No, they're not. Absolutely. And could modern humans have brought novel diseases with them against which Neanderthals? Yes, absolutely, John. They could have brought in diseases that we did not have, that they did not have contact with, especially in Europe. They would have in earlier other zones like the Western Asia, Middle East, and Western Siberia, etc., where we know that they mingled with them. They would have had enough time possibly to adapt, but there's also possibly that we mutated some of their diseases and that killed them. This is my hypothesis, not a possibility. Everything's possible. Diseases do kill. There's a possible theory that animals, when Beringia, when modern humans, when humans went into the Americas through Beringia, that's Bering Land, the north between Alaska and Russia, that the animals that went with them, for example, domesticated animals, and not so much as not just domesticated animals, but other animals that even they brought in possibly some diseases that once they passed that initial ice barrier to the south would have wiped out the megafauna further south because they would not be in contact with the northern and Asian megafauna. So yes, yes, Carlos David, we do have a human devolution at the moment. Yes. Um, so okay, I'll end it here. Thank you all for the putting up with me, and I hope you liked this article. I'll have some more next time. Like I said, I need to get a second monitor so I can get um, OBS working better because I figured it out. Um, that's John. That's because the audiences are too, you know what I mean, mate. Anyway, catch you guys around, and till the next time, I'll try and have another interesting article as always. Bye bye.